These are some of my crucibles. Look, they're marked for what they're good for. Nothing at all. This one's been used a little bit for silicon bronze. This one's been used for copper and brass. Funny thing is, look at them. This one looks awful. You'd think this would be the one that's retired. That'd be this one that really doesn't look as bad. You hear the difference? Oh, it's gonna fall apart just from tapping on it. This one still has a ring to it. Do not use. I'm not going to be using any of these again after today. So, my friend Doug, who I met through the homefoundry.org forums, who's out near Kingston, Ontario, was willing to trade a couple of my old A6 crucibles for this brand new Morgan A12 clay graphite crucible. 3 of these bilge shaped size 12 silicon carbide crucibles. 3 of these, what I believe to be A16 silicon carbide crucibles, and this A20, also a silicon carbide. All these I believe are made by Vesuvius. All for my old burned out. These are just too big for him, and he needed something smaller. And while I was still using one of those A6s, I could very much not turn down this kind of a trade. What a deal. Thanks, Doug. Thing is, I need tools to use these. Now, I have my old pouring shank that I've been using for my old number 12 silicon carbide crucible. This guy back here with the chip on the rim from when I dropped an ingot on it one time. And it's close enough to the same shape as these number 12s that I can get away with using the same one. But this one would fall right through that shank. So I decided it was time to build some new ones. I never liked this one anyway. All this width on it keeps me from getting the crucible up as close to the flask as I like to. You know, sometimes I would rather get the spout of the crucible right down into the pouring basin if I can. But if that shank is bumping into the side of the flask, it's in the way and I can't. I don't have a forge though, so what I've done is I'm using the castable refractory furnace because I can set these fire bricks on here and still be able to close the lid. But this I think will work nicely. I speak English. I was over at David's shop yesterday when we got these crudely bent into shape and welded up. I just got to refine them, make them a bit more circular, and possibly hammer that taper outwards a little bit. And there we go. Big ass forge. It's far deeper than it needs to be for no good reason, but it was never built to be a forge anyway. So I'm getting the black dread out of mothballs for the first time in a couple of years. It'd be good to get it heated up and through its paces. Got a couple of big log rounds that my neighbor got for me. He drives a truck for a company that does tree removal after big storms and whatnot. Got a few anvil shaped objects here. I think maybe This surface here will be helpful. But once I get it nice and round, I think when I heat it up, I might, quench the thick side to keep the roundness if I need to hammer the taper out wider. Here's the 3 number 12s. I've got the 2 build shaped number 12s and the Morgan A12. It's a clay graphite. These are silicon carbide. But they're all 12s. They're just different shapes. Now obviously it'd be nicer if this one went lower. Still just a little egg shaped. We're working on that. And I'm just banging on it cold for now, trying to refine the ring shape a little bit. Right next to the weld where the end of the piece was, I've got a bit of a flat spot. I think I might need a bit of heat to tune that up, because that's the main thing keeping this from being round enough right now, is this little flat spot here. Cook for a few minutes, see what we see. Getting close. Very close. Slow. Alright, I think I got it figured out with the double tongs approach. I'll figure it out. be able to see, I'm starting to get that taper to show up a little bit. It's time to do another heat here, another session of pounding. So I've tried banging the taper against the horn of that little anvil, against the end of the rail anvil. The thing that seems to work best is supporting the curve of the thin end of the taper on the tapered edge of that hole in the big flywheel. That's what's been working the best out of what I've tried so far. All right, well, I got it pretty good. But, I like where it sits on the A12. Really well supported, and it's touching on more than just 2 points around the outside. My old V12, I mean it's pretty much happy. It's lumpy enough that it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and it'll still have, you know, multiple points of contact. And it's sitting, I like, you know, I wouldn't want it sitting much higher up while it's upside down like this. I like where it is. And this one, which is another B12, it sits a little lower, but it's got enough points of contact. I do not think it's gonna, I mean, it can move a little, but I think it's about as close as I'm gonna get it. Cool it down so it doesn't burn me or burn down my shed. I don't need it to be hot anymore. The taper I forged out into there. And it was just the sides of a piece of C-channel. You know, it already comes tapered, but once I bent it into a ring, instead of going out, the taper was going in just because of the way it bends. But I think it's a little, you know, it's a little curled, but, you know, I might be able to bang that out, and I don't think it really matters if I don't. This will work good. At least, you know, I can still refine it a little more if I need to. But I think we're ready to put a handle on it. It started burning inside the burner tube again, just like it did when I built it. So this is not a burner that likes being set real low. But, you know, I was running propane for, geez, it was probably close to an hour before the tank froze up enough that became an issue. So, you know, for its intended purpose, melting metal, you know, this thing will last as long as a propane tank. And honestly, if I was melting metal, I'd be switching over to diesel or waste oil as soon as the furnace came up to temperature anyway. So no concerns about tanks freezing over and having to turn things down. For a forge, well, if you're going to be working for a while, the propane, the little barbecue tank is the real issue there. Anyhow, so here's what I came up with. Just a normal ring, tapered to fit the A12, and I welded a couple of rake tines on here just to give it a little support in case it wants to fall out. And these things, what these things also add is I can also use it for these crucibles, although because of the shape, it sits much lower on these ones, but those two tines, they support it high up enough that it's not going to fall out. Yeah, they'd be sitting there like that. So I have another ring forged out for the A20, and I believe I'll be able to do the same thing to get it to fit on the 16 too, because similarly, this sits like up here on the 20, but it's down here on this guy, just because of the different shape of them. Although this one is significantly larger volume. For this one, I do plan on. You see, I used a pipe coupler here. I was just going to screw in the handle, but I decided to tack it on, so it is permanently attached there. But I was going to do the same on this one. I'll put one on each side. I'll have the fixed handle like this, but then on the other side, one that you could screw in and out, they'll have the bull horns on it, so I could do a two-man pour if I want to. So yeah, but that's I'm not in a rush to get the big ring done. Should be a big improvement. I still do need to put a crossbar on the end to control the tilting action, but it's just about ready to use. So yeah, I'm excited about this guy because he's going to be my my cast iron crucible. I'm picking up the ingredients to make the Iron Raider green sand this weekend. This furnace I built 10 years ago with cast iron in mind, so it's built to withstand it. You can still see it's still set up in improvised forge mode. Yeah, when I was over at David's forging out the crude rings, it well enough that I could get them welded up so I could bring them back here to refine them. I also got to have a look at the progress on the boulder sculpture, so got a little clip of that to show you. He's been welding and grinding and chasing and welding and grinding and chasing. He's getting Sisyphean boulder fatigue. So this is progress on the welding and chasing. Yeah. You've got some pieces of rock that you glued onto sticks to bang on it, basically. And some
bunch of grinding
burrs.
And then texturing with real stone, yeah.
And yet to do is any last minute texturing and some sandblasting and some sort of polishing, perhaps, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna brush it back. I've got a black patina that I'm gonna test that I'll black patina and then brush back. So the high points will get a little bit of a polish, the low points will get some darkness. We'll do some tests and see what I like best.
Cool. Yeah. Coming along great. Looks good. And we got more pieces down here in various stages. That one's all done, but you said you were going to do some more on it, right?
Yeah.
Looking good. This thing's going to be massive, eh? When it's all put together.
Yeah, it's about 28 by 28 by 6 feet, and then it's going to be sitting on a base that's almost 10 inches tall. And the base is going to have uplighting and an X form in the center. So it should be nice, with a nice sort of lustrous polish on the inside.
Yeah, for the plate sections. Yeah, well, that's going to be cool.